we expect just one thing from you: to share this light of knowledge with your friends, family, peers, and your network. Do invite them to register for these sessions or subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ramratna International School Official. Thank you for joining in today, and we look forward to an inspiring session. Onward we go, forward we march. Best wishes from Ramratna International School.
Namaste, Ranjit sir. Namaste, good afternoon and welcome, sir.
Namaste, good afternoon. I hope I'm audible to you all.
Yes, sir. You are visible and clearly audible. What a pleasure and honor to have you. Thank you for joining us on time.
Oh, it's my such a pleasure to meet you all virtually, even though we couldn't meet physically in
Yes.
these times. It's good to see
Thanks
you
to
all.
technology. Thanks to technology that we are able to
Yes.
meet. And thanks to technology that it gives such brilliant ideas to teachers like you in seeing how technology can actually elevate and upgrade the level of education we are providing in our schools. I must say, you are an icon, you are an inspiration for the entire teaching fraternity. On behalf of Ram Ratna International School, I, Dr. Jaya Parekh, the principal, extend a very warm welcome and my immense gratitude to you for accepting the invite to be a speaker at Aadharshila Talks at RRIS. So with your permission, I would like to formally begin with your introduction and then would ask you to take over. It's 3:30 now.
Yes.
Okay, so welcome to all the participants. This certainly is going to be one of the most memorable and impactful talks at Aadharshila Talks. Mr. Disale, the speaker for the day, he has made a name not just for himself but for India and for the entire teaching fraternity. Mr. Ranjitsinh Disale, the winner of the $1 million Global Teacher Prize, considered a Nobel Prize equivalent for teaching, shared half of his winnings with the other finalist teachers to help transform the profession. I think it goes a long way in saying that he has given importance to character over competence. Though in terms of competence also, he is an inspiration, but the strength of character that it takes to be able to share your joys and your treasures, it speaks very highly of one's values and the Indian sanskars that we so proudly talk of. Although initially hesitant about teacher training, he successfully transformed innumerable lives, breaking significant barriers for girls in society and in the education field in India. By actively fighting for girls' education rather than have girls marry at an early age or get a job, he has significantly boosted the retention of girls in schools and improved their learning outcomes. His use of technology in a hybrid teaching methodology has also greatly improved learning outcomes for all of his students. For example, he incorporated QR codes for audiovisual supplementary material in textbooks to boost learning outcomes. His QR code idea is now being adopted across the country and is helping children learn remotely even through the pandemic. Mr. Ranjitsingh's approach to teaching clearly demonstrates how improvements to education can be made, as well as inspiring change in policy and government delivery of educational services. Girls have faced significantly more setbacks than with the onset of COVID-19 and with closure of schools, as their education is... Ms. Jharna, please be on mute. Mr. Singh's approach to teaching clearly demonstrates how improvements to education can be made, as well as inspiring change in policy and government delivery of educational services. Girls have faced significantly more setbacks with the onset of COVID-19 and closure of schools, as their education is not prioritized. Without school, they are more susceptible to being married off prematurely, being subject to domestic abuse, or being asked not to return to school in favor of work. These are such practical, real world issues that we cannot turn a blind eye to. And Mr. Singh has been constantly dedicating his life and his life as a teacher and as a human being in bringing a change in this much needed area. Mr. Singh has stressed the importance of technology driven transformation and its time critical nature. He has successfully onboarded the students at his school online, enabling them to attend classes from home and setting an example for schools all over India. I think, sir, you have not only set examples for schools all over India, but now you can very safely and proudly say that you have become an icon and a beacon of inspiration, a lighthouse for teachers across the globe. Before I invite you, I would like to wholeheartedly congratulate you on this historic win. We are extremely proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a grand welcome. And I'm so touched by the way you introduced me. And I'm very happy to see the teachers and some students being part of this Aadharshila talk. I have seen that so many great speakers being there previously. I just have watched some of your videos as well. Those who have come to speak with your teachers. And it's a good initiative, actually. Because I always feel that sharing is growing, right? So we share our thoughts, we share our experiences, and everything. It's, when you share something, the society gives you multiple times back to you. So it's good to see that teachers and teaching fraternity and community is more interested to listen, right? Because nowadays it's being very rare that we like to listen to anyone. We talk a lot, but we listen a less. So it's good to see that teachers and principal like you invite some teachers and ask them to talk, and your teachers are interested in listening. So thank you so much for inviting me. Let me just try if I can share my screen.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. And I would like you to know that there are many teachers from all over the country who are here in this virtual call, and people have been very excited as they got to know that you are the speaker here at Aadharshila.
I think Mr. Dilip Raju. Dilip, are you from Tamil Nadu?
It's from Karnataka.
Oh,
He's from my school, however. He's from Mumbai. From
I have a friend from Tamil Nadu. He has the same name that his. Let me just try.
With the same name.
Yeah, Dilip. So I thought he's there. Okay. Just let me know whether my screen is shared.
Yes, sir. We can see it.
Okay. So today I'm going to talk about expanding education through technology, but it will not be a monologue, right? It will be a dialogue between me and you people, you teachers as well. I will just take you through my journey, what I did, what I'm going to do now, and what I will be doing in recent future as well. And there will be some quizzes for you, and then at the last, I'll be having quick question and answer session with you people as well. So let me just formally introduce myself. My name is Ranjitsinh Disale. I'm a teacher in Jilla Parishad Primary School in Paritewadi, a small village in Maharashtra. I'm working there since 2009 as a teacher. So before we talk about my initiatives, my work, let's jump into the broader picture of education in India. Talking about boys or girls, or those who are expected to come to school. So just expect that this is the figure, this is the number. So these number of students are expected to join the school, right? But around 5 to 6% of students in India have never gone to school. They haven't seen their classroom. Even though we're talking about right to education, now it is a fundamental right, but still these 5% students never go to school. And remaining this, around 50% of students, they complete their education till grade 5. And then later on, this large number of students, they complete their education till grade 10. And only 5 to 6% students would complete their graduation. So this is the scenario of education system. I'm not blaming anyone, but this is the fact. We should accept it. So how we can change this? So let's talk about this statement that students of 21st century are being taught by teachers of 20th century using 19th century curriculum and techniques on an 18th century calendar. Is it true? I think it's true. You may have different opinion, but it's true. We as a teacher of 20th century, we're teaching to the kids of 21st century. Let's just go back to 2 years before when the COVID pandemic hits and education system was disrupted. And we were not, as a teacher, we are not comfortable while using technology. We feel that if we teach on a blackboard with a chalk, then only students get attention and they understand how we are teaching. But it's not true. So I started my journey in 2009. I still remember the day 5th of January 2009. And when I just went in there, I saw that my classroom being sandwiched between a cow shed and storeroom. It was moreover like a cow shed, and that was really shocking thing to me. I never imagined, never thought of such a classroom in India. And more shocking thing to me was that nobody was complaining about it. Even the parents were not complaining about the status of classroom. So they don't rely, they don't trust, they don't believe in education. So it was a Herculean task for me, how to catch the attention of parents, students getting back to schools. So challenge was enormous. But how I overcome these challenges? Let me just show you the video. Just let me know if it is audible to you all.
I just wanted to create a learning environment for every student that could spark the curiosity and make them innovative problem solvers so that they could contribute to the community. So Paritwadi is mostly known for farming. So we can see that all of them are below poverty level parents. The boys are actually lending the helping hands to their parents. Girls' education is not given that much importance. So education is not a priority. I still remember the day one when I saw the school building and I saw that this is like indifference of a parents looking at the education. So I started to interact with the parents. I learned their language, participated in their events. So it was like being a member of their community.
परंतु ज्यावेळेस डिसले सर आले त्यावेळेस पासून काय झालं की एक विद्यार्थ्यांना प्रेरणा मिळाली की आपण शाळेमध्ये येऊन शिकलं पाहिजे. पालकांनी त्यामुळे काय केलं की जास्तीत जास्त विद्यार्थ्यांना शाळेमध्ये जास्त वेळ कसे राहतील याकडे लक्ष दिलं.
even though I'm teaching to 12 and 13 students in a class, but everyone is learning at their own pace. I have made some QR codes on the each and every textbook. So when the students scan those QR codes, he or she gets the personalized and well curated content for himself. Considering his style of learning, I change the content at the back end. So this is how I make their learning personalized. They can challenge themselves. They are not competitors of others. Technology is helping me to bridge that gap between students living in villages and students in cities. Schools are closed, but still our teaching learning process is going on. Right now, I'm running my online classes from my home. We are using some video conferencing software, so where my students could join my classes. I just make sure that they are achieving the learning outcomes of the respective class at the end of the every year.
मोबाईलवरती क्लास घेत होतो. व्हिडिओ कॉलवरनं आम्ही शिकत होतो. खेळतो, मोबाईलवरचा अभ्यास करतो, सरांनी दिलेली स्वाध्याय पत्रिका सोडवतो.
The major issues is girls getting married at the age of 12 and 13. Girls are not
So it seems to have stuck. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Sir's screen is stuck, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe sir is facing some network issue. Ranjit sir, can you hear us? Ranjit sir? So I'm sure sir is trying to join again. Until then, I would like to hear or read how you felt when you saw this video. There must have been several thoughts and emotions you experienced. Please write. You can even unmute and speak.
Namaste, ma'am.
Namaste, Greg sir.
Namaste, ma'am. The video actually takes us back to the ideology of Gandhiji, which he said once the villages are developed, the country will definitely get developed. And as sir is trying his hard and very hard towards educating these children, the people, and especially the parents, because changing their mindset only will help the children to progress further. So that's very inspiring video, and we can do a bit also from our end wherever possible. Thank you.
Well said, Greg. Thank you. Who else would like to share? Okay, Sonali ji. Thank you for informing us. Yes, teachers' creativity can bring big changes. And yes, we get to see the reality of our villages. And sir's passion is definitely inspiring. Learning
I
and
would like
teaching
to
is
share.
free. Yes, Ms. Prajakta, please go.
Looking at the situation of the class that was shown, it was ridiculous. I'm imagining how much of hard work he must have taken to just settle the class, then approaching the parents. Firstly, to approach villagers, it's very difficult. They don't get easily convinced. So convincing the parents must have been a very big task for him, and getting all the children together and starting the school. It must have been from scratch to what it is now. So hats off to sir for being so patient and bringing up the children. And I could see the excitement on the faces of the children of getting right education in a right way. So uh, I'm very surprised and feel wonderful to interact with such a good personality.
You have expressed our thoughts so well, very well articulated. Thank you so much, Ms. Prajakta. It also made us feel how fortunate we are, where we don't have to actually deal with so many challenges in our own schools. Here, just
Absolutely.
express the way our classroom. Yeah, and gladly we have Sir back with us. Sir, over to
So
you.
sorry.
No, it's okay, parents. We were taking
Yeah,
participants' views, and I would like you to know that they all are thoroughly enjoying this discussion and interaction with you, and they are very proud of having this opportunity of listening to you. We all feel highly inspired, sir. Please carry on.
yeah. I'm so sorry. I lost my connection. So, and even I didn't know. My Sonali just called me that sorry, you're stuck. I hope just let me know on WhatsApp if uh, I'm not able to share or if you're not able to see my screen. I hope now it is visible to you.
Sir, yeah, we can see that you have presented the screen.
Okay, great. So just try to summarize uh, what I did in last 10 or 12 years. So just coming back to initial days in 2009, so I saw that these are where the biggest challenges before me, that to change the parents' indifference toward education, ensuring that 100% attendance of each and every student in the classroom, and improving the academic performance of everyone. So these were the targets I set up before me, and I made a plan of action for 5 years, where I see my classroom, where I see my students after 5 years. So to achieve these targets, uh, I initiated these initiatives, projects like community engagement program, alarm on, TV off, QR coded textbooks, virtual field trips, let's cross the borders. So I'll be talking all about all these initiatives. But before that, as I told you before, here is a quiz for you. Mm, these are the 9 dots, and you all have to join these 9 dots with 4 lines. Okay, these are the 9 dots. You have to join it with 4 lines, and the starting point of a second line should be the ending point of a first line. I repeat the condition. 9 dots are there. You have to join these 9 dots with 4 lines, but the 4 lines should be drawn in such a way the ending point of a first line should be the starting point of a second line. Okay, now you start thinking about it, and here is the quiz for you. It's not just about listening to my experiences, it's about your attention, whether you are attentive or not. Just trying to getting you. 9 dots are there, and just join this with 4 lines and draw these 4 lines in such a way that ending point of a first line should be the starting point of a second line. If anybody has the answer, please let me know. They can raise their hands. Oh, principal ma'am. Yes, please go ahead. Just show me. Just show me if you can. Just show your notebook or paper. So she has drawn 4 lines. You're on mute. You're not audible, ma'am. You're actually not audible. Please.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like a it's first a kite kind of a shape, and then there is a cut on it. So 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay. Okay.
1, 2, sorry. 1, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
So I hope no, it is not visible to me. But I
Oh,
hope you followed the conditions that.
yes, sir, I followed the directions. Yes. So
And
final shape is like a kite, a triangular, and there is a line cutting from the center of it.
okay, anybody else? Anyone else? Tried, tried. The principal ma'am is obviously she's brilliant. That's why she's a principal. But what about the other teachers?
Nothing of that sort.
Anybody tried?
I'll try to do it with pen so that it's more visible, or maybe I'll just show it directly. So
Mhm.
it's 1, 2, 3.
Right.
1,
Okay. Yes.
2. No,
Okay.
how did? Oh, sorry, I had to go out of this.
Yeah.
1, 2, and again go out of it. Go
Okay.
out of the box. Then
Yeah.
3, and then the middle line covers everything.
That's what I wanted to tell you. Going out of the box.
Right.
Uh, this is what the message I want to convey. Yes, whatever the problems, the solution. If you just look at the right corner of my screen, something is like going out of the box. I will just tell you how I solve this quiz.
So Nevetya has raised her hand. Our
Oh,
student.
wow, good. So, do you have an answer of it?
Yes,
Wow, great.
answer first, second, third, and fourth.
Okay, so just make sure you have joined all the 9 dots.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good, good, good. So let me now just show you the correct answer of this. Uh, Man's answer may be different, but there is nothing any. It's a fixed answer to this. But just follow the condition. The first one line should be drawn in such a way. Ma'am has
Mhm.
rightly pointed out going out of the box. The first line, then second one, then third one, the fourth one.
I've done exactly the same thing, sir. Just
Wow, great,
upside down. I've done the same thing.
great. I'll repeat again. This is the first one, then second, then third one, the fourth one. This is actually called as a 9 dot theory. If you just Google it, 9 dot theory, you will find out this answer. The message that I wanted to convey is that what are the problems? Don't talk about the problems. Talk about the solutions. And while talking about the solutions, you have to think out of the box, right? There is no any specific answer to this 9 dot theory, but anybody anybody can draw the 4 lines in any way. I just tried in this way. Now, just going back to my initiatives. Firstly, in 2009, when I come to know that parents' indifference toward education, they hardly believe in in girls' education. So I started to interact with them informally. I initiated a project called Community Engagement Program. So just focusing on community meetings, informal meeting, and their mindset, how they look at education, why they don't believe in education. For a 6 month, initial 6 months, I did a survey of entire village and collected some data about their economical status, their cultural background, their religious background. And based on that data, I came to know that I could take active participation of parents, specifically their mothers, and to ensure that parents are actively participated in teaching the process. I initiated a project called Alarm on TV Off. I had set up an alarm on schools building. It was ring at 7 p.m. every night. So this was an indication for parents. Now stop working whatever you're doing. Now sit together with your kids and to help them when completing their homework, or just sit together and ask them what they did in the classroom, what happened in these days. So these are the things. But as the parents, they don't know how to support, how to help the kids. So I started to send the text messages in the afternoon on
Excuse
the
me, sir.
yes.
So your voice is breaking actually. So there seems to be some instability in the connection.
Right.
So in order to save the bandwidth, if you want to keep the camera off, we'll
Yeah.
listen to you
Yeah.
and can watch.
Okay, I will just yeah, I just have shared my screen.
Yes, sir, please do. But this was a totally out of the box idea. What he said, installing an alarm in the school and the children everybody receives that message when the alarm goes off.
Yes. So in the afternoon, I actually send the text messages on their mobile devices to the parents. Now, what they're gonna do at night? What are their responsibilities? What are the activities they are expected to do at home? So parents, based on the activities and set of instructions given to them in the afternoon, they just manage their work and just um, putting their hard work, putting all the efforts to help their kids to learn at home as well. So it actually what is the impact of this initiative? The first is that I ensure that everyone is actively participated in teaching learning process. Learning doesn't happen in the classrooms only; it happens beyond the classrooms as well. So that culture or that mindset of learning and teaching process should be at home as well. So I instructed parents, now this is your responsibility. We want to change all these things. We want your kids to do or to perform better and better. So only a teacher cannot do all these things, so I need your support. So, because we know that the education system has three key pillars like teachers, parents, and students. So, when these three key pillars or three important stakeholders work collectively, join their hands, the better results can be seen. So, with this initiative, I ensure that all these parents and students are, joining their hands and helping me to improve their kids. Then later on, I initiated a project called QR coded textbooks. Once I ensured that parents are taking responsibility, students are taking the ownership of their own learning. So, and then later on, I introduced technology. Those who are not, actively participating in the classrooms. So I recorded my small videos, in a mobile, and I was just recording the videos and just transferring those videos to mobile devices through the Bluetooth technology or the memory cards. So sometimes we were facing some problems like sometimes files get corrupted, sometimes data or the files were not supported by the mobile devices. So what could be the better solution? And one day when I went in a shop and there I saw the shopkeeper had scanned the QR code on a product, and that was a trigger point. I thought of something that the same thing can be done in education. So then I went back to home and then I Googled what is this called. At that time, I didn't know what about QR codes. Even I asked the Google, what is this? Then Google replied, oh, this is the QR code. Then I learned how to create QR code, how to embed the data I need. And after having some sort of research, I initially created 27 QR codes for my students and pasted those QR codes in their textbooks. So I did a piloting for 1 year after analyzing their impact, how I'm helping my students to continue their education. So after the 1 year, I get to know that it is helping students to learn at home, learn at their own pace, and giving them chance to wherever they want, they just scan a QR code and continue their education. This idea got huge response from my students and parents. Then I proposed state government of Maharashtra. Now they just need to scale up this idea. And then later on in 2016 around, government of Maharashtra has accepted my proposal and they decided to use QR code techniques in the textbooks. So it helped a lot during the pandemic when the schools were closed. but still students were able to continue their education just because they had these QR coded textbooks. Then later on, I initiated a project called virtual field trips. So, what is this virtual field trips? We do field trips going for picnics and other things, but in the villages it is not possible for students in my schools. So what we did, we invited some teachers from other countries, requesting them to go to the historical monuments in their villages, and we were doing video call. We were having the Skype for education, Skype for classroom initiative, and we had a passport of our learning as well for this initiative. Let me just try to show you that passport, if my connection is better now. Yes. So this is what our passport for students. So it is a well documented learning document for students. So it has the names of the students, wherever they are going, when they have went to that country, what they have learned, what are the topics, what are the questions they ask, how much distance they have traveled. So one virtual trip is actually an integrated learning experience of history, geography, mathematics. So learning happens through all these such a kind of initiatives. So when they go back at home and they just go through their passport, they learn so many things. They memorize what the fun we had during that virtual field trips of Vietnam and Eiffel Tower in Paris. So it's all about using technology to learn beyond the classrooms. Teachers should not be the only source of knowledge and information for students. Teachers' role is just to facilitate, to make them learn whatever they want. So this is what I did and I'm doing. I don't force thoughts on my students, just understanding their interests and just showing them that these are the ways you could follow. So this is how I help. This initiative helped me to understand, to take a help of other teachers, to teach my students anytime. Currently, I'm just working on this project called Let's Cross the Borders. Due to the pandemic, I couldn't, initiate a cohort 3 for this project. But I hope this year I'm going to be relaunching this project. This is actually focusing on Sustainable Development Goal number 16, that is about peace, and where we invite entries from students from India, Pakistan, Israel, Palestine, Iraq, Iran, upon students from conflict zone countries, and we promote a message of peace. We invite them for 6-week long project. In a first week, we allot them peace buddies, like someone from India having their peace buddies from Pakistan. Moreover, they are friends of each other. In the second week, they are expected to present or to answer, why are we fighting? In the third week, they are expected to present on a topic, similarities and differences between India and Pakistan. So this is a well-learning platform for students to understand what Indians thought of the Pakistanis, what Pakistanis are thinking of Indians. So gradually we are building a peace army of students, those who promote the peace, those who are following the principle of non-violence, and those who believes in global citizenship, having a friendly and lovely relationship with each other. So hopefully I could get some entries from your schools this year as well. So thank you so much for listening to me, and I'm now opening the floor for you.
We would love to take part in the project, sir, in your peace project.
Yeah, thank you so much for
That's
listening.
absolutely wonderful.
I would like to now, floor is yours. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Or now it's just go for informal, dialogue between you and me.
Yes, we would invite the participants to speak up. They can unmute. They can also type their thoughts and questions in the chat box, whatever is convenient to them. I would like to share, sir, what strikes me the most is that all your work comprises various skills that we would like to develop in ourselves and in our children, whether it is the social skills, The way you have reached out not only to your immediate community, but to the educators across the world for your virtual trips project. Apart from this, the confidence, the courage, the communication skills, all these soft skills and personality skills that you have shown, it's absolutely brilliant. Then the combination of competence in terms of moving with the current times, use of technology, first of all, understanding technology, coming from a rural background where we know the kind of challenges that you are facing, how much of courage and keenness for learning it must have taken for you to to utilize technology, to understand and to utilize it for such an ambitious project. And then thinking of peace, thinking of love and brotherhood, thinking of global citizenship. I think this is what is an ideal human being is supposed to be like.
It's not. I think
I'm
it's.
not exaggerating. I truly need it.
I think the credit goes to my students. Those because I always feel that every day I face 27 editors in my classrooms. Those who are always searching for my mistakes. Ranjit, you haven't teach like this before as well. So it's all about students, the way they respond to us. If students are responding to our initiatives, to new ideas, so teacher gets inspired by, oh, my students are liking it. They are actively participating in it, and that's why I become more and more creative just because of my students.
That's your humility. It is definitely mutual. When children know that they are heard and our teacher thinks out of the box, they will absolutely approach you. So another thing which I would like to point out here is you being a teacher, many times it comes to the minds of teachers that we won't be able to do it because we are just a teacher. We are not the policy makers in the school or in the government, or there are people above us, there are authorities, they can bring changes. But I think you are a great answer to all those thoughts that limit us. A teacher can make such a huge difference. Nowhere you mentioned that you wanted your school to make a change or some authorities to come and bring this change to you. You took the lead and you went ahead and you did it. Thank you so much, sir.
Teachers are real change makers who bring the change with the right mixture of chalk and challenges in the classroom. So we don't have to we can bring any type of community to society. We should call out that change makers.
Hats off to you, sir. Now over to our participants. Let's see if they have any questions and thoughts to share, or you have put them in serious reflective mode.
Let's see if here are any answers.
Yes, Ms. Nagma, totally agree with you. Global citizenship is crucial. Ms. Sonali is appreciating your work and truly innovative, very progressive. Ms. Prajakta has a very good question. What do you do to be so calm and have that patience to take such initiatives?
I think if you just, I don't know, if you are teaching to grade 1, 4 students, primary school teachers, you should be very patient. You cannot, get angry on them. Just listen to them. So I think the reason behind this, I'm being, if you ask my wife, I'm so patient. She will not agree with you. But in the classroom, I should be very cool and calm with having interaction with students. Just because the primary school students, they are so active. They want new things in a fraction of seconds. So we as a teacher should be very cool and calm, having so many patience, because sometimes students don't respond the way we have expected. Sometimes we feel he's not doing well, so we get angry. We want him to perform better and better in a quick time. But by the time I get to know that everyone learn with their own pace, their own style of learning, they have their own style of learning. So we should give them some time to learn, to relearn, to unlearn. We cannot expect everyone having their own, everyone having same style of learning, same speed of learning. And that's why as a teacher it's our role to understand the kid personally, understand why he's lagging behind, instead of comparing his or herself with others. So we should be very cool and calm in the classrooms, not in the home, don't think of it, but in the classrooms we should be.
So you dealing with children has made you patient.
Yeah, I think
I
because
can relate to it.
obviously I was not like, very cool. I get angry. Oh, you're not doing well. But by the time I get to know that we need to give them some time at least. It's not like in one day they will capture the. In next couple of days, students get to understand what is happening and what is the main test behind this.
That's really a very insightful answer, sir. Thank you for this. Miss Sonali has raised her hand. I guess she has a question to ask. Please go ahead, Miss Sonali. You can unmute yourself.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you, sir. It was really inspiring. I mean, I just don't understand that how can somebody be so passionate about you have been doing such great work. I just want to know that how do you take the children when they move out from the primary, when they go to the secondary? Is the same thing being done, or do they miss? I mean, if it isn't done by, if you don't hand it over to the baton to the next teacher, how is it done? I just want to know. I also come from a very small town, and your thought has made me that I should really go back to my small town again and do something. Really, I mean, we are so ambitious. We really want to work in a good school with the best infrastructure. At least I'm guilty of that. And now when listening to things like your story, and you're so innovative. I mean, you could actually make so much of money if at all. That is the parameter of success if you come to a city, and still you're so humble. How do you actually? My question, maybe my question is too far fetched. What I really want to know is that what happened to those children when they move to secondary one, and how do we actually can contribute? I mean, is it replicating your same thing will be easier for us if we at all plan to do that? I mean,
Why not?
I'm
Why
just
not?
inspired by you, sir. I mean, I just can't, maybe will not be able to tell it in one go, but this is how what my I want to know.
Yeah, actually, I'm being in the village for primary school students when they go to the secondary schools. But they are living, around my school's premises. It is not a big village like. So I get to understand they are doing, what are the problems, what are the problems they are facing. Even their secondary schools, I just it's on my road where I usually travel. So I keep eyes on their performance and progress. Even I ask their teachers as well, because they get to know, because usually every year when my students just complete their fourth grade education and they join fifth grade in secondary schools. So I get to know who are the teachers, the class teachers, whether they are facing some problems or not. Initially, most of the times, my students face problems like monetary problems, like sometimes their parents don't give them notebooks or money for their small things like pen or pencils. So students comes to me and they get to tell Ranjit sir, we need some notebooks for this, and I just give them to them. So my personal attention is always on them. It's not like now it's not my duty. I have taught them till grade 4. Now it's up to their parents and community. It's not like that. Because teaching, it's more about touching the hearts of the students. It's not just about completing your daily job like from 10 to 5 p.m. No, it happens beyond that. It's all about building the character, and your behavior itself is a role model for your students. If you start talking to them, if you help them when they need, they will. Sometimes my students, if I don't carry my tiffin, so they get to know, no, today sir hasn't come up with his tiffin. In the morning session it happens, because nowadays morning sessions are going on. So usually they do carry their breakfast for me. So this is how this community and society responds to you when you teach their students more passionately and bring the changes. Already told you that sharing is growing. It's not just about initial of someone is saying. It's all about mutual. And talking about your second questions, if you are passionate, feel free to reach out to my social media channels, where whenever I initiate new project, I just announce it on my social media, and through that you could be part of our any project that I'm going to launch in recent future. So I always encourage teachers and principals, school leaders, just to connect with each other, with like-minded teachers, like-minded people, and then there should be a positive group, positive vibes of community of educational community, so that we could bring the change the way we wanted.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, sir. You're truly deserving of the award. I mean, truly. Thank you. And thank you,
Totally
ma'am,
agree.
for bringing us to connect with a person like him. Thank you so much for
Oh,
that.
thank you, Ms. Sonali, for initiating this incredible discussion. It was very much needed indeed. So we have been receiving some comments. There is one question.
Okay.
What motivated you to bring change in the education style? That too, starting with rural children. The other question is, do all the children respond with equal enthusiasm? Access to internet can be a hurdle in learning, and as children get easily distracted.
Right. So first, let me just answer the first one. What motivated you to bring the change in you? Actually, the situation was the trigger point for me. If I could be a teacher, if I was in a teacher in international schools like yours, I don't know what I would have done. But the problems and situation before me in 2009, it actually pushed me to bring the change, because I'm being a community, I'm being a part of family where my father has brought a change in the lives of his students. And in a childhood, I get to know that many of his ex-students coming to our home, thanking him when they got a job and telling us, your father has done a great job, and that's why we are now here, we got a job, these are things. And that time I thought of something, this is what the teachers can do. Can transform the lives of a teacher or students, their students. So this is a very responsible job. So I think the passion behind this, the motivation behind this, is just the situation where I was working in 2009. That's motivated me a lot. It's fairly easy to work more comfortable situations, more punished situations, but it's very difficult to work with underprivileged students with a lack of resources, starting from the scratch. It's always a difficult task, but uh, चट्टानों से, हिंदी में कुछ कहावत है ना कि चट्टानों से जो टकराते हैं वही कुछ मंजिलें हासिल करते हैं. So it's taste of a success is more sweeter when your hurdles or problems are much more. So I think वहीं से I think motivation आता है. Second question पूछा है कि how do all the children respond with equal enthusiasm? No, ऐसा नहीं होता. Classrooms, everyone is not having the same enthusiasm. उनके interest area भी अलग अलग होते हैं. But it's our responsibility, it's our skill, how we can make sure they are interested, they are attentive. Uh, what is the thing behind education or behind enthusiasm? I know that my students are not genius, but they should be passionately curious behind the learning, behind the things. And that's what I make them more curious. I don't want they should be like big companies, CEO and other things, but they should be passionately curious. They should be learning like what happened, what gonna happen, like this, finding out everything behind the things. It's more important. So my students are expected to do these type of things rather than just going through those textbook and other things. Your second question was access to internet can be hurdle in learning. Yeah, unfortunately, it had been. But during the pandemic, what I did, instead of using technology just for teaching and learning process, I just use this to transform my messages to my students, not just for teaching purposes. Let me show you the example what I did during the pandemic using technology. Instead of teaching them, formal way, like going through the chapters and lessons, I created a small project for my students. Initially, in the summer vacation, I asked them to monitor how much water they are using, how much electricity being consumed, what is the temperature of their village, how much water they need to go. So everyone came up with their own observation sheet. And then I asked them a very simple question. Sometimes you're using more water or electricity being consumed more. What is the reason behind this? So someone replied, so that time, it was very hot, the temperature was high, and that's why we need more water and we need more electricity at the time. Then I asked them, just try to find out when the temperature increases by 1 degree. So how much extra water you consume, how much extra electricity you consume. They come up with your answers. So this is how I taught them. Instead of going for formal way of teaching, I asked them to learn at home with all these things. Project-based learning helped me a lot during the pandemic because that time I really get to know that teachers could not be a source of knowledge right now. Their family, their nature, their community could be a source of knowledge for my students. So this is how I use technology at the time. Now monitoring, making notes, making a observation sheet, you don't need a technology, you don't need internet. When you need internet, just to transform, just to transfer your message to your students. So this is how I use technology during the pandemic. So students doesn't get distracted. If you just involve them actively in a teaching learning process, then they will be passionately curious and actively participating in the learning process.
So thank you. That was a wonderful explanation. We could also understand how experiential learning is to be incorporated to ensure that there is real, practical, project-based learning happening where they know of the problems around them, understand how to deal with challenges and find solutions together. And sir also mentioned the role of his father being a teacher, being an educator, in inspiring Mr. Disale to become an educator like him. So this reminds me of the video clip I had seen. I think it was a live reaction taken when your name was announced as the winner for the Global Teacher Award. I could see your parents with you and the joy which it showed on your parents' faces and you. I think that's unforgettable. That speaks by itself, that emotion that I've seen, that speaks for itself, how much you have been inspired by your father and your parents in general. So there's a question, how you see Indian education system in the future, say 10 years down the line, and what changes would you like to bring?
I think the change has now begun with the new introduction of new education policy. I'm just working for how the new education policy could be implemented in a better way. Because earlier it was there were those few policies in education system as well, but this is a new policy. We are just aiming to new India. So I'm more cautious and more interested how we could implement good ideas, good policy decisions at the ground. So some of the changes it has already begun, like introducing technology in teaching learning process, investing in teachers training as well. Some changes in pre-primary and primary and secondary schooling parameters as well. New methodologies of evaluations could be integrated, could be introduced to teaching learning sector as well. So I think the change has now just started. So we could see the change maybe after 10 or 15 years when the India on the global platform, our students, our teachers would start shining on global platform as well. Even if you see that CEOs of big companies like Google, Twitter, and others are from India. So it itself says that how our education system is powerful. Its roots are very powerful. So we don't have to worry about, and we don't have to compare ourselves with like Switzerland or Finland. Their education system is so good, world best education system, but ours is not like lagging behind them. Our education system is still good, still good. There are some areas where we could improve, but we should not underestimate ourselves like we are in the worst situation. No, we are in the better situation, good situation. We could do better than this as well.
You're the right person to make the statement that we should not underestimate ourselves as teachers. And he's not just hypothesizing, he has proved it, that we should not underestimate ourselves. And yes, I agree with you, sir. NEP, if it is followed in the true spirit, can be a game changer in India.
Right.
But it is all possible only through the passion of teachers
teachers.
So there is one student who has raised his hand. Jishnu, I saw you raising your hand. Would you please like to unmute and speak? Jishnu? Jishnu, can you hear me? Would you like to ask some question? Okay, seems probably it was by mistake. We don't seem to have any more questions, sir, but I'm sure you have inspired a lot of, triggered and sparked a lot of thoughts and thought processes amongst the audiences. Thank you so much. I think you have given us an excuse to dream big, a reason to dream big. And I would like to take this opportunity to close this session before showing this gratitude video to you with a beautiful quote which says, "Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars, to change the world." This thought by Harriet Tubman, I think, has come into reality with the work that you have done, Mr. Disale. We are extremely proud of you, of being a part of the Indian teaching fraternity, and also making us India proud on the world map when it comes to education and bringing evolving education through technology. Thank you so much for being a guiding light for all of us today and during the pandemic. When we have been listening about your work, we have seen some of the work that you have done. It's truly inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you so much for such a wonderful session and inviting me to speak to you and your teachers. They asked me such a good questions. I am more. It's not like I just have to stop just because we have time restrictions, constraints. But we'd love to see you in person in the recent future.
Please visit us, sir, and we'll come to your school for sure.
Thank you.
If you allow us. We would like to visit, and we want you here in our school to come and speak to our children, speak to our teachers.
You're most welcome always. Thank you so much. I take a leave now. Thank you so much.
So this is a little video, just half a minute.
Okay.
This is for you. So thank you, video.
Okay.
Thank you for being the 93rd Aadharshila. So keep soaring high, keep shining, and keep inspiring.
Thank you. Good day. Okay.
Thank you, sir. See you soon. Thanks to all our participants for joining us at the 93rd Aadharshila Talks at RRIS. It has been a pleasure to have you with us in this journey right from April 2020. Yes, this April we have completed 2 years of running Aadharshila Talks at RRIS. We are completing it on 22nd of April, in fact. So thank you for your support and your encouragement, and most importantly for your active involvement. See you next Monday, not the coming Monday, but the Monday after that, 18th of April, for 94th Aadharshila Talk. Till then, take care. See you. Lots of love and prayers for your well-being. See you soon. Bye.